We're now called TRX Gold. So we changed the name approximately a month and a half ago. It's kind of the historical base of the company. It's our ticker symbol. And we used to be called Tanzanian Royalty Exploration, which is why we had a ticker symbol of TRX. We kind of kept a little bit of the past, but have a future guise on the new name. So what do we do? We're developing a gold mining project in the Geita region of Tanzania. So we have a significant reserve, and we are now putting it into production. We started off with smaller production, around 360 tons per day in the oxides. That has gone extremely well with better production and recovery rates and efficiencies than anticipated. We're expanding that to over 1,000 tons per day by the end of August this year. Well, we are in August, so this month, and that will enable us to generate significantly larger cash flows, which will be reinvested into the business around exploration and a broader sulfide development, where 90% of the resources are.
Fantastic.
So that's a little bit on us. We have a joint venture partner with the state mining company in our asset. We're 100% Tanzanian on site, and we work really well with local communities and local contractors and our local colleagues to develop the project thus far. So I came on board around 18 months ago, and the company has been around for 20 plus years. But recent history is when I came on board, we've really developed extremely quickly. So the expansions is we started off with essentially one ball mill, 360 tons per day. We're expanding that to 3 ball mills, so over 1,000 tons per day on the oxides. That mine plan currently will run 7 to 8 years. We'll find more oxides by exploration. And then what we plan to do thereafter is increase reserves and resources through the drill bit and exploration around our 16 square kilometers. It's a very underexplored property. And we discovered 2 new shear zones last year. So that will be a major focus of the cash flow to come off the larger expansion. But then 90% of the resources on the Buckreef main zone are in the sulfides. So we'll be putting together a much larger project, which will probably take the same approach as the oxides and starting off small and then ramping it up over time. My history is I was a partner at PricewaterhouseCoopers, the deals mining leader here in Canada. I did that for 10 plus years. And prior to that, I did a lot of work in investment banking and finance here in Canada. In my roles at PwC, I dealt with and negotiated with governments and advised companies on turnarounds and value creation and in restructurings and operational improvements right across the board. So I'm well traveled. I would say I've been to pretty much every corner of this earth and into some very interesting places. Not a lot of places that tourists go, certainly, but very, very interesting places in Central Asia, Japan, China, North America, pretty much all over the place. So very interesting and good background for this particular role. I have a philosophy that the major beneficiary of a mining project should be the local community, and that predominantly comes through in jobs and opportunity and things of that nature. That's where your largest spends are. And so you should try to move that as close to your mining asset as possible. So from a business perspective, we are 100% Tanzanian. We hire as many local people as we can. And so I look at it as, for your very technical skill sets, you hire the best Tanzanian. But as you get further on down the totem pole or food chain, you hire as local as possible, you procure as local as possible, and you benefit the local community as best you can. So our food comes from all local sources. A lot of our contractors too are local. I think they're almost all local. We bring in local skill sets. Even welding of tanks and building of tanks comes from Mwanza versus importing things from China. So we try to limit the imports and increase the local content to everything that we do. The local programs as well around CSR are very important. So we have currently a focus on education, school desks, for instance, help renovate schools, put in place science labs, medical clinics, and we'll continue to do those sort of work. So you can't do everything. There's a lot to do. But our current focus is on more in the education, and hopefully over time, we'll start hiring into those secondary schools. The mine has a long life, and people can, live, work, and spend their money and wages in the local communities. We recycle 100% of our water. We're on the national power grid, so we reduce our carbon footprint. I just came off a call on sustainability and things of that nature. So it's something that's high up on our radar. We're developing a mine currently, but we do need to put in place a sustainable development framework. How do we limit emissions, even reduce them? How do we make sure that the water balance is correct? How do we make sure that it's safe? We have a great safety record currently. And then sustainability really in SGGs is about improvement in local communities and making sure that we hire people, that they're safe, and that they're as close as possible to the mine site. I would say it's growth. It's not only growth in production profile, it's growth in the resource base through the drill bit. Those are the major opportunities. Like I said, it's an underexplored property, and it does require more capital to drill it out properly and get the proper amount of resources. But it's growth on all angles. It's continued to grow. So what you will see is we'll have the expansion come online. You'll see us continue to have drill hole results and exploration results as we attempt to expand the resources and reserves. And that will all then lead into a much, much larger project for this project ultimately over time. And we'll have a much better sense of how we're going to develop that over the next 12 to 18 months. No, there isn't. I would say that there's a lot of resource expansion and production growth expansion available in this particular asset.